Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have John Osting with us, live from San Diego. So he's a founder, solopreneur, all about biz dev, lead gen efficiency, winning new business for SMBs and B2B companies by using buying intent data and AI to increase meetings booked with qualified prospects by 300%. Has been running his own company for the past 3 years, was SDR at various companies before that. So we're going to talk about sales, AI, cold outreach, closing, and everything between today. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. If you want to start your own podcast, monetize it quickly, like mine, you can go to podfire.com. We've got a free book and a masterclass to teach you how to monetize with YouTube AdSense, lead gen, and sponsors. John, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Charles. I'm honored to be here with you and your audience. As you'd mentioned, I started Startup Sales Shop about 3 years ago, and it's been an amazing ride since I decided to jump ship at, working for employers and do my own thing. I've always had it in my heart that I kind of march to the beat of my own tune, and I don't really like taking orders from people. I've always known since going into the corporate environment that one day I was gonna, learn what I needed to learn and save up and eventually jump ship to do what I'm passionate about, which is helping people realize their true potential and get their brand out there.
How's it been so far?
Oh, it's been absolutely incredible. Lots of ups and downs. I mean, you hear it all the time that being a founder of any startup is a roller coaster. One day you're kind of on a high, maybe you win a couple new accounts, and the next day could be a low. Maybe you lose three of them. You know, when you're looking at a high level, as long as the line is going in the upwards trajectory, or the upwards trend, then you're in a good spot, which is what's happening with Startup Sales Shop. So we've been growing at 300% year over year, and we have only been in business for 3 years. So I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's taking off.
Yeah, I've seen that your portfolio of clients. So how did you grow so fast? Cold outreach, LinkedIn outreach. What's your secret sauce? 80% of it.
Well, we have our own proprietary method. What we did is we didn't build a system ourselves. What I did, and this was from a decade of being in business development for my employers, is I was able to kind of play around with certain systems, whether it's like Zoom Info or Apollo or Dripify or what have you. All these systems that claim to have the best data or they have the best automation or whatever, and or buying intent data. And what I was able to do is choose my favorite, and then I hired a software engineer to go on the back end of their open APIs and connect all of them using webhooks and Zapier. One of them is a white labeled solution, so it looks like our own, which I'm super proud of. Um, Being able to build all this, this system, and the way that we present this to our clients, and the way that we offer it to our clients is a turnkey solution for helping them fill the gap on LinkedIn as well as email. And then we also tackle their initiatives for prospecting with buyers intent data and LinkedIn posting and website visitor tracking and retargeting. So we're kind of like a full suite of solutions, including copywriting, even when it comes to, hey, John, we have a LinkedIn profile. We haven't logged in forever, and we need someone to help us kind of dust it off and help us get moving on it. And so that's where we come in.
Wow. Very cool. Very interesting. Huh. So have you always been tech oriented yourself? Is that something you could have done no code yourself, or did you absolutely need to hire a Zapier expert?
Yeah, I'm not the most tech savvy person. However, I do know enough to run this business. When I need someone to come in and look at a few things on the operational side, then I hire the right mindset for it. Um, what I'm really good at is building relationships, selling the product, and implementing the solution for each client. When it comes to building the solution on the back end, that's when I usually ask for some help from folks who are more attuned to, let's say, Python coding. I know nothing about Python coding. It's not my thing.
Right. Then why don't you sassify that? Do you have that in mind, or do you just love the consulting game?
Um, I've thought about sassifying it. I do love the consulting game. I think being a people person is my bread and butter. I'll go and speak at events. We are a preferred vendor for a group of independently owned benefits firms at United Benefit Advisors. So what I really look forward to 3 times a year is attending those events so that I can shake hands with people. I don't like to hide behind the curtain. I like to be out there. I like to network. Last year, I actually joined 4 networking groups or clubs here in the San Diego area because I just love to get out of my house, get out of my co-working space, and be social.
Right. Okay, your clients, do you have a specific ICP? Do you target mostly tech companies, or are you still in the experimental mode?
We're still in the experimental mode, and I like to call our solution very industry agnostic. But what had happened when we first opened our doors in 2022 is we had blasted out a campaign on LinkedIn and email that went to basically every industry. And our campaign landed in the inbox of a CEO working at an employee benefits firm down in Florida. He was also on the board of United Benefit Advisors. So once we proved our system useful for them, we got them 5 new clients in 8 months, by the way, which is like unheard of. They're like, we need to get you vetted and approved as a UBA preferred vendor, which they call an alliance, to help these other benefits firms succeed. And in the past year, we've worked with 15 to 20 more firms at that membership.
Okay, your outreach system, I want to dive deep into them. Okay, you're targeting probably a specific title, but being mostly experimental in your niches. Does it actually start with LinkedIn outreach, cold email outreach? What does the copy look like?
That's right. Very good question. So every client's campaign starts with a prospect list in Apollo that is curated by both clients and our team. So we'll hop on the phone with them and say, who's your audience? Let's say it's an employee benefits firm. And they say, John, we want to go after CEOs, CFOs, and HR decision makers in these industries in this geography. So we get that fine tuned, and then our copywriter will work with each client to make sure we hit on each of those prospects' pain points. So CEOs, for example, care about growth and compliance. HR cares about attaining and attracting top talent, and then also ease of annual enrollment. And then CFOs might care about bottom line and EBITDA. So we want to make sure that we're hitting each one of those. And then we load a campaign for LinkedIn engagement first. And that's what happens on startupsaleshop.io. And so we'll load those prospects. We'll have a LinkedIn invite sent out to these prospects. And once they engage, the drip starts, and then an email sequence to their professional email addresses deployed through Apollo. And what happens too is we also use SendGrid as our server. So we're never using ESP servers like Google and Outlook. And then what we do too, this is kind of like housekeeping stuff, but it's always important to purchase an alias domain that's separate from the actual company domain to protect its integrity um, and DNS score. So what we do is we actually hook that up to a software called warmupinbox.com, and it acts through AI as my client, making it look like it sends and receives emails on a daily, for business purposes instead of just a unsolicited marketing platform. So we keep that score high. We also follow up with, like I mentioned before, some website tracking. So we'll place a pixel on the back end of each client's website. And at the end of each month, we'll go in and see what companies visited and then target the decision makers at those companies and put them into the drip campaign the same way that we pulled the original list from. And then we'll also, on a weekly basis, it's usually once a week on Wednesday mornings, we'll post relevant content to their industry on their behalf on their LinkedIn profile to keep the engagement going with the prospects that we're adding to their first degree connection pool. So I hope
Right.
that kind of helps answer your question. That was a lot.
Love that. I was about to ask you about deliverability anyways, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
not doing that this year, you're effed basically.
That's right.
Do you limit your sending to some level? Because even if you're doing the full warm up thing and you're emailing bigger businesses and doing ABM, nowadays they might flag you as spam
That's
because
right.
they have these spam systems. So do you limit the amount per company and or the amount per mailbox?
That's correct. So when it comes to company, we limit it by job title. So CFO, CEO, HR, office manager, executive assistant, anyone who's part of the decision making process. What's beautiful about our process is that LinkedIn already has a cap on how many invites you can send each week, especially with automation. So you're looking at 100 invites sent per week to your prospects, or about 400 per month. So that already is a nice kind of bottleneck for us to keep from sending out too many emails each month. It does grow exponentially month over month over month over month, but we also have a cap on our email send. The perfect rule for us right now is 50 emails a day. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you hyper target these folks that are actually in the market of buying your solution, it's a lot better than casting your net wide to tens of thousands of people. So we're reaching out to 50 people maximum per day, 6 people per hour with 600 seconds sent in between each email. And then having the inbox warm up feature on the back end really helps as well.
Love it. And what's your philosophy on emailing startups vs mid-size and larger companies? Because I just stopped believing in outreaching to larger companies. They're too bureaucratic. They flag you as spam. And I don't think in the future they'll scale as much as startups in the AI age, which is a whole other topic. What's your thesis on that?
So our sweet spot are small to medium sized businesses, but more medium sized businesses. So this is really working well for employee benefits firms because they've been established for 10 to 15 years minimum. A lot of them have been around for 40 or 50 years, and they have a budget. They also already have a book of business they're just trying to grow, and they have runway. They have time to grow the campaigns with us on a drip. Whereas usually when I'm working with startups, nothing against them, but they don't have a budget and they have knee jerk reactions a lot of times where we'll try and start a campaign for them, and a month or 2 months in, they'll just pull back and say, look, it's not working for us. And I'm like, look, it hasn't even really had a chance to get up and running. And then to your point, larger companies usually bring these kind of efforts in house and they don't work with 1099s. So the medium sized businesses are where we're going for, or what we're going after.
Your copywriting, do you have some AI into this? How do you make sure to hit the specific pain point and offer the right offer to someone? What's the analytics into that copywriting process of yours?
Okay, so I actually went to journalism school, so not to toot my own horn, but I like to call myself a good writer. I know English inside and out. Um, Writing copy is not necessarily my passion, even though I do like to think I'm good at it. But it's really being in the industry for so long and working with clients one on one, where I listen to them and what their needs are and what their pain points are, and how each company, each client is different from maybe a competitor of theirs that I could be working with. So how can we set them apart from their competition and really shed light on what makes them different, special? What are their accolades, awards, recognitions? We highlight those. It's also important to make copy short, sweet, concise, to the point. You know, you don't want 2 paragraphs going out in a LinkedIn Messenger sequence. You want like maybe 1 or 2, right? And emails are the same way. So getting creative with the copy with the client is how we do it.
What are your growth plans for 2025 for Startup Sell Shop?
So we would like to grow 3 to 4 times this year. Um, Not sure how else to say that. Um, but I usually don't share these metrics, but I love your audience and I trust you. So what I'll say is that the first year we were in business was 2022. We made a whopping $1,500 in revenue. Last year, yeah, or 2 years ago in 2023, we did about 60K. Last year we did $250,000, and this year we're on track to keep growing 3 to 4 times.
Wow. So a million client roster of about 50 clients. Do you think realistically that you will get there? Is it about just doing more of what you're doing, or will you actually A/B test potentially hyper growth growth hacks and tactics to get there?
So both. I think it's going to happen. What I'm doing right now is I actually just got off the phone with a business partner of mine who's going to help me streamline processes using AI and some automation tools. It's not the AI and automation that I'm an expert in and helping my clients grow, but other sets of tools that she's more of an expert in, and she's going to help me take a lot of the tasks, the administrative stuff off my shoulders. Now, the other way we're going to grow this year is not just focusing on employee benefits, that vertical. We're also going to focus on helping nonprofits use the same method to reach their corporate donors on LinkedIn. There's a lot of money out there that are just taxable write-offs for these corporations in the philanthropy department, right? Um, so what we want to do is go after them and get my clients in front of them and make sure that they get a chunk of the pie before the year closes. Um, and then, so we have employee benefits, we have nonprofits, and then there was one more sector we were going to go after, and that is membership. So any club or organization that needs help on the B2B space, like for instance, if you have a social networking club here in San Diego and you need more members, and your target is solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, or anybody in the C-suite level, then we'll use our system to go after them for membership purposes and get them to sign on.
Tell me a bit more about that social club strategy. I saw some picture of your social club. People are more bullish on meeting physically, right? I'm also still investing some of my energy tokens into that thesis, but like seems that you sort of scaled it. So is it like a Soho club? What's so unique about it?
Yeah, so there is a group of clubs across the nation under the Invited umbrella, Invited Brands. I am a member of one of them in here in San Diego, and so there are multiple here in the Southern California area. And so what they're trying to do is kind of like what you just said, is get people out of the comfort zone of their apartments. Since COVID, everyone has been so comfortable working from their kitchen counter or kitchen table during the day, and we need to get ourselves back out and shake hands and mingle with people face to face and be human again. We need that human interaction. So it's actually a passion of mine, because I am such a extroverted, personable person, to get other people outside of their comfort zone as well and to shake hands and see how great it is out here. So what I would love to do is test my strategy and my services with my own social club first, and then if it works, expand to other social clubs. And it is sort of like the Soho House. Um, there were so many of them under this group. You can look them up, Invited. Um, but I love what they're doing. I love that they're creating comfortable gathering spaces, meeting spaces for professionals. And even if you don't take your job too seriously or you don't own your own business, you can still join one of these clubs to network and meet great people.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
studied Invited before. What did your close one thing thought about your sales career choice and then your founder career choice?
Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I may have not understood.
Yeah, your close one. What did they think about your sales career choice and then your founder career choice?
So my seller career choice. Are you asking what my employer thought about it?
No, your
Or
close ones, your family,
oh, my family. Okay.
your
So
friends.
sorry, I misunderstood that. So they when I jumped ship to start my own business, I know my family, I love them to death, but they like to be cautious. So they were asking me to get a full-time job at a corporation for benefits, health insurance, 401k, all that good stuff. While I was pursuing my passion of starting my own company. What I knew in my heart is that if I didn't give this new venture my 100% time and attention, 12 hours a day, it wasn't really going to bear fruit. So I had to put that fear to the side, and it wasn't even really my fear, it was my family's fear of maybe me not making it, spending all my money, not having any revenue come in, and just focus on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, right? um, and then what was the second part to the question?
That was mostly it.
Okay, great, great.
So jumping ship, I guess, like, yeah, us salespeople were more prone to taking risks and so forth. What would be your vision for the company in 5 to 10 years from now? Do you think that is a ticket to getting very wealthy and eventually accomplishing your high goals?
Very good question. I would like to have something proprietary. So while we have married all of these third parties on the back end using webhooks and programs like Zapier to communicate with each other, we don't have anything yet that is ours to sell. The only thing that we have to sell is a book of business. And while that is worth something, it's not enough for at least me. So what I would like to do is at least build a software, like a hub in the middle that pulls metrics and capabilities from each of these third parties so that you have a startup sales shop login as a client and you can basically run all of your campaigns from that one spot versus now everything does work and we are getting results in new business one for our clients, but there are multiple logins. So I give my clients a login to, let's say, Gmail for their alias inbox. Even though the emails are forwarded, they like to have access. I'll give them access to their pro plan on Apollo. I'll give them access to the white labeled solution of startupsaleshop.io. So they're like, this is so many logins, and then also for the reporting, we'd like to streamline the reporting into one spot because Apollo's got the email campaign reporting. Startupsaleshop.io has the LinkedIn generation, LinkedIn message reporting, connection rate reporting. And so when we have to pull those metrics for our clients, it's just a lot of moving parts. We like to have a one-stop shop.
Love that. And where can people find out more about you and your business, John?
You can visit startupsaleshop.com, and you can also email me at jon@startupsaleshop.com. I'd be happy to speak with you.
It was John Osting, and